Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today is going to be a little bit different from my Not So Berry series. It's going to be a speed build. Before I even started playing my Not So Berry series like a week ago, this build was from I think a couple weeks ago. I was kind of just fiddling around with the base game, and I've seen a lot of builders. They're way better than I am, but I've seen a lot of people renovate, or they just recreate the entire worlds in the game, especially like the older packs in the game in addition to the base game. So I thought that would be kind of fun to give a go, and I am in Willow Creek. I feel like that was the safest place to start. I wanted to just go into this renovating this in like a more realistic sense, and then that all kind of changed and went downhill because I just kept expanding the house and making it bigger. I tried to keep the original shape, but then it felt so squishy, and I tried to keep the original layout, and that honestly ended up changing as well because I didn't like having the bedroom at the very front of the house. I felt like having the bedroom more towards the back of the house and having like your living room in the front of the house is a little bit more inviting. So that's what ends up happening. And I don't know, the whole downstairs, I could have just left it as like one downstairs and it would have been one bed, one bath like it was before, and it probably would be way more affordable, and I think it would be pretty easy to convert it back into a single story if you wanted to. But I don't know, I kind of like how it turned out with like a two-story. I know none of the other houses that come in the game in this neighborhood are two stories, but part of me kind of wants to go back through and do that. I don't know. I was thinking, do I want to just do base game for the base game worlds and then base game plus whatever pack that other worlds are from? So like Brindleton Bay would be base game and cats and dogs. Or if I just want to use all the packs that I own, and I kind of want to just use all the packs that I own, because otherwise what's the point of like, owning them? Like I paid good money for those. I'd like to get use out of them. And so I might go back and do that. I think that'd be a lot more fun to build my own save that I can use for any time I do I don't know, when I do play Let's Plays. Because the save that I started with my Not So Berry series, I actually took majority, like 99% of the lots and houses and community lots that I put down. They're from the gallery, and I would say 9 out of 10 are from creators that I enjoy watching or have been following for years. Like, I always mispronounce it, by Deligrissi and Lil Simsy, and especially Simlissy. I love her build style. I love how her builds always turn out. And she's always so great. It makes roofing look so easy. As you can see right here, I'm struggling so hard with the roof. I don't know how people in real life build real roofs, because I look out my window and they all look very boring. I just see like the triangular ones, then it's just like copy paste top and bottom floor, and I don't know, maybe that would have been a little bit easier here. I try to be as mindful as I can be when I am creating the shape of a house. Like you can see that dead square on the top floor that has no use other than just to be, easier for me to roof the house, and so the house is a little bit more symmetry. I find that's another issue that I have, is having too much symmetry sometimes. Another thing I notice that I do is I over window my houses. I think a lot of people do in The Sims, because it's nice to have all that open light and it's easy to just slap a window on the wall, especially like considering how expensive artwork is in this game. It's easier to just put a window, and cheaper. But then you look in real life, and I look at the side of my house the other day, and there's one single window on the top floor, and there's nothing else on a whole side of the house. There is no other windows or anything, and it doesn't really look silly. Like you look at it and you're like, oh yeah, that's a house. But if you do it in The Sims, it just kind of looks funny. Like today, when I'm recording the voiceover for this, I just streamed part 2 to finishing a house for my Not So Berry series, because if you're keeping up with it, they need to move pretty soon again, or I just wanted to have a house ready for when they do need to move. I kind of feel like it might be sooner rather than later. Right now, they have, as I'm like recording today's video that is going up, it's the 25th. They have just moved into a slightly bigger house because my mint sim Pepper, she had a baby and she got married, and they just needed a bigger house because she was living in a 1-bed, 1-bath, like tier 2 tiny home. And I know a lot of people can make it work. I just really didn't want to be that cramped, especially with all the cool stuff that she's starting to earn from work. I wanted to be able to have room to have all of that stuff in the house, so it can either be in their bedroom or it could be like on the balcony or patio or somewhere like that, or maybe the living room. It'd be kind of funny, but I don't know. I just wanted them to have more space, and I think it's kind of realistic when your family expands and, like, you know, your parents, you know, you get more siblings and they're like, well, we kind of need a bigger house, so like now we got to think about moving. And I kind of liked that idea where anytime they have like more kids or like the family gets bigger, they kind of need more space. Instead of just like rebuilding the entire house on that same lot, they just move to a bigger house, and it can be a house that I build. And I thought that would be a really fun way to play the game. And I also, it's kind of silly and maybe taking the game a little too far, but I also think it'd be cool to do a somewhat more realistic move whenever I do move my Sims, where, you know, you leave the fixtures that would come in a house, generally speaking, like all of your kitchen cabinets, a fully, you know, plumbed like bathroom where you have a shower, a sink, a toilet, like you have all of that stuff. And I don't think windows count as furniture, but I think light fixtures do. So like anything attached to the ceiling, like that would just be built into the house, you know? In reality, that would just be built in. Same with like mirrors in the bathrooms. I think everywhere I have lived has come with a mirror built into the bathroom. So things like that I kind of want to do, and that's as far as I furnished the house that I finished streaming today. And that's about as much as I'm going to furnish houses, I think, going forward, because I don't know, I can go in and furnish them if I'm going to place like some Sims, because that's another thing I did in the save that I started for my Not So Berry series. Is I spent like a good couple weeks placing lots in every single world for every pack that I have, and then placing new families and just like single Sims or couples or roommates or sibling family member, like placing all this different stuff. I did not go in, I went in and gave like the first 10 like households that I placed, I didn't write a backstory, but I gave them like jobs, I gave them some skills, and I gave them some like relationships, so they had friends and stuff. But that kind of took a long time to just go in and do for every single household, especially when there was multiple people per household. So I don't know, I wish you could tell if a Sim on the gallery or like a household of Sims on the gallery already had some of that stuff to them, because it would make the whole process easier. But it would be kind of fun to go through and start doing that, at least with the very base game, like lots and stuff. But I think I would probably redo this house or rebuild this house using all of my packs and not just base game. I think I did okay, given I used only the base game when I was furnishing this, which I don't really care to do, to be honest. Like, I like furnishing a house when I have Sims that I know who I'm furnishing it for. It's kind of hard for me to imagine, like, well, who's gonna live here, because I don't know who's gonna live here. I kind of envisioned, when I really had to think about it, I was like, okay, maybe this is like a couple and they take in their older nephew, so like maybe they live in this bedroom upstairs, and maybe the aunt, like it's her sister's kid or her brother's kid or something like that, and so maybe her husband isn't super happy about it. He was content with life the way it was. Maybe he had to give up his, like, you know, activity man cave room downstairs to make room for the nephew or something. And so I was like, okay, maybe he lives down in the downstairs bedroom, and, you know, the couple lives upstairs, and he had to kind of move a lot of his stuff upstairs into that space. Or maybe it's the other way around. Maybe someone lives in the downstairs bedroom and they rent out their top story and they just like share their downstairs or something like that. I was also trying to be mildly conscious of the budget because I went into debug to try and get some plants, and some of the plants, they look the same as like the build and buy, except the shades of them are different. Like the round bushes and then like the long oval ones, they are the same shape, but they're different colors, like they're different shades. And I learned that today when I was using them on stream. It was kind of frustrating. I was like, are you kidding me? Because the lot I was building on, it was also in Willow Creek, but it was lined with bushes on the other side for like a community garden. And I was like, okay, well, that could just be like in place of a fence, I guess. But then I fenced like the sides, and I was like, well, now it looks silly because there's no fence anywhere else. But I thought that was really interesting. You'd think that they would have matching swatches, but I guess not. It's a lot of things that seem to be missing from this game. Like the more you play it, the more you notice. But that kind of does it for the build. Thanks for joining me today.